Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, we're going to be doing a couple things. We're going to be running several trains around the layout. I've gone around the room and, things are cleared off post all of the deliveries and orders that we received while we were away. So everything should be functional on the layout again. So I want to make sure that that is the case, that everything's running smoothly and working the way we expect. And that's going to set us up for starting to selectively take some of the modules here on the tabletop apart for a few days as we look to recreate the tile and plate patterns underneath the corner modules and underneath the T-junction. We're looking to recreate that on the mills modules that we're putting on the lower under table layout. So I'm still going to be wanting to keep things fairly functional. All these things should be very quick sort of moments in time. And then we should be back to working layout on the upper level here again, because we are heading to a train show in about 3 and a bit weeks. It's coming up fast, but I want to make sure that everything's in working order as we head towards that. And several of these modules on the under table layout will be taken to the show as well. So I want to get those finished up. And I'm just eager to have the mills all in place on the lower layout as well. So lots of work ahead, but this should be largely just about running trains, and we'll probably take a look at a few things around the room too, to give you sort of a before look, and then hopefully in a few days you'll see the after look where more of those mills modules are in place underneath the layout, and where several things are hopefully a little more organized and tidied up around the Lego room. So let's get started. And oh, so quickly, we realized one thing that I didn't clean up. We have the Dutch HA Bricks Locomotive here on the backstretch in behind the city, and I have not removed it from the layout yet. Before we headed off on vacation, I actually managed to have this running for a very brief time around the layout before it broke down. I need to do some surgery on this, pull some of the internals apart to fix up what I think is probably a broken axle inside. And then hopefully we can get it back functional, moving around the layout again. So I'm going to move this off to a siding, and then we can get back to running trains. Okay, so we're starting off quite simple here. We've just got the white Lego passenger train moving around the layout. Nothing too complicated. Making sure that the train is performing the way I expect, but also that the outer mainline track is clear and functional. Everything seems to be good so far. Also really fun just to see this train moving around the layout, as when we were on our trip in Europe, could definitely see the inspiration for this Lego passenger train and some of the other trains that Lego has released. So many great trains around Europe in general, not only on the main lines that we passed, but on some of the sidings as we were moving along on our train journeys. So cool to have seen all of that, and then to be back here now running these trains on our layout. But this seems to be working out pretty well. So let's step things up and run some additional trains. So we now have the Maersk pulling several well cars along the inner mainline loop. This piece of track seems to be performing as expected as well. Really nice to see. And the Maersk is performing well as expected. Always a strong workhorse in our rotation of trains that we run here around the mainline loop. There are going to be several locomotives hopefully coming online in the next couple of weeks here that'll be joining our current roster of locomotives. And hopefully a few more double motor trains similar to what we're doing with the Horizon Express should make our trains a little more powerful, able to pull longer sets of train cars with more ease. So looking forward to that. The Maersk does well on its own, but I think that in general it'll be cool to lengthen out a number of these trains and do so in a way that, not only it goes relatively easy on our motors, but just lets us get more trains out into the layout as well. Trains, by trains I mean locomotives and train cars. So that's going to be a big goal for the next few weeks here. And you'll start to see some different motors coming into the room via some of our Bricklink orders as well. Let's head to a different vantage point. Different view of the layout from over here by our bookcases. Couple things you're going to see happening over here. This is one of the corner modules that I'm going to be taking apart to act as a template for the other 8 corner modules that we are building for the lower track layout. I don't want to take this corner out of the rotation for very long, so we'll just be pulling the track up and, getting at least one of the lower level corners completely done and ready so that can then act as the new template for all the additional modules. This particular corner is also going to be where we work on some cool landscaping. I'm going to be working in a patch of water over on this side here. So once we get the patterning done for the corners on the lower layout, we'll get things back in place here, and then you'll start to see this outer edge of the corner module come apart, and we'll highlight some of the things that we're doing there in an upcoming video. But looking forward, this is going to be a cornerstone sort of piece of track. There's going to be a lot of work going on over here as we get ready to head out to that train show. And I think it should look even cooler than it already does once we're done all of that work. Really want to focus on adding in a lot more landscaping around these corners, and I've been inspired by some of the great corner modules and some of the great landscaping modules in general that I've seen at recent shows that I've been at. So lots of fun stuff ahead on this corner in particular to start with, but that's going to start to work its way out around the other corners in the layout. So those are all working well. Let's switch things up a bit and run a few different trains and put these ones off to the side for the time being. Now, A little different, not quite what we are going to, or sort of how these trains will be run typically, but with at least one of the new motors. It probably will require two, but with at least one of the new motors that I'm getting, I want to get the Santa Fe train up and running. It's getting pretty long on its own, and so I feel like it's probably going to take two motorized cars to, sort of adequately move it along. So I think we will probably end up getting two installed fairly quickly. And to kind of simulate that, I've got the Maersk and the Union Pacific pulling and pushing this train around the layout currently. I think that the Santa Fe train is looking super awesome. Love how long it's getting and just love the general look of it. Such an amazing looking Lego train and very symbolic of sort of where I want to get to. I want to get to the point where we are running, 5, 6, up to 10 cars in some cases on some of these trains as more a regular occurrence around the layout. And I want to kind of move away from the short, like 1, 2, 3 car trains. There'll still be times and places for those, but I really think that it'll be cool if we can get to the point where we are giving our locomotives and our trains in general enough power to run longer trains like this with ease around both the home layout here and out at shows. Really, ultimately, we're going to be in a big crunch for motors for the next little while because I want to get the Union Pacific back up and running. It's definitely going to need a second motor, and I'd like to swap out the motor that's on the A unit right now so that we're dealing with two newer sort of top of the line motors for that train. Probably means that we add another car or two to that particular train, just to give it a little extra length. If we're running two motors through there, we might as well add another car or two to really lengthen it out. So, if the Union Pacific is running two motorized cars, the Santa Fe has two motorized cars, it's really going to start to add up, but a necessary change, I think, to really start to change the way that we run trains around here and to start being able to grow the size of these trains, which I think will just look extra cool, and it should become a regular occurrence with a lot of our larger trains. I think we've actually got 4 locomotives that are going to come online soon. That'll be 1/48th scale. And those are all being built with 2 motors in the actual locomotive itself. So out of the box, those with 1 locomotive should be a lot more powerful and will make our 1/48 scale trains much longer and, even more impressive looking right out of the box. So lots of stuff on the go on that front, but nice to see a really long train moving around the layout here. And hopefully soon, really all 3 of these locomotives should end up being able to be parts of much longer trains and trains that are specifically geared towards their line or railroad that they're a part of. So, the Santa Fe is pulling Santa Fe only. The Union Pacific should go back to pulling its Union Pacific train. And the Maersk ideally gets to the point where it's got its own sort of dedicated train that it pulls. And maybe a second Maersk locomotive will be, a worthwhile purchase and acquisition as well. But anyways, I thought this was a cool experiment. Nice to see all of those train cars and the 3 locomotives out there, and a fun experiment of where we want to go with our trains. Now, a couple of side things I want to show you guys. I can make it around the entirety of the tabletop layout at the moment, but it is still more difficult than I want it to be. In the coming days, this alleyway sort of pathway here should clear up dramatically, I'm hoping. That's the plan anyways. A lot of these mills modules are going to go underneath the layout as they get all of their remaining brick and plate attached to them. So keep an eye out. I will show you guys this pathway in upcoming videos, and hopefully it gets clearer and clearer. And it's not bad down this side of the layout, but definitely gets a little squirrely as we head over towards the Acro Mills containers over there. But all of this very much top of mind for me, and stuff that I will be working through as we make a number of the changes that we're looking to make, the new modules that are coming online, the new trains, the new motors that are getting integrated. As part of all of that, there'll be, a continual push to get a number of things built and a number of pathways sort of cleared up as we integrate a lot of the parts into either builds or as they go back up into our storage system over there with the Acro Mills containers. And for the sake of completeness, showing this angle over here too. You can see I've got some bins pushed under the table there, so the lower layout not functional at the moment until I can get those bridges back in, which will be really easy once I move those bins, but I just need some space for them around the layout. So this area should be tidying up quite a bit. And then obviously lots of building and work going on over here and in our Acro Mills storage wall over there as well. So lots of improvements coming online here, but really happy with how the track is performing. Great to have it cleared off and functional again. One last thing I will show you guys before we wrap this video up. As a side note, those trains are going to be coming down over there. We'll show them on the layout, the main tabletop layout in an upcoming video, and we will put some of our other trains up there to run. That'll be one of the things that we're able to do as we clear out this area here and improve our, get things integrated back into the Acro Mills wall. It'll make it easier to get up to access those trains, but keep an eye out for that. The other thing I want to show you guys is we're going to take the tracks off of the corner that I showed you guys a little while ago. I'll show you the tile and plate work under that corner that we're going to be copying for the 8 corners on the lower layout. So this is what it looks like under the corner track, the R120 and R104 curves that make up this particular corner. You can see here the assortment of tile and plate that I use around this corner that then wraps all the way around to the straightaway that makes up this area behind the city. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 base plates. So we'll be working on the 8 corners below, which is 96 base plates total. And we'll basically be looking to recreate this pattern under there so that track down there on the mills will be all ready to go. It's not too bad to do. It's fairly straightforward. The biggest thing is just going to be making sure that we've got all the parts in place to do everything we need to do here, which is going to be just an ongoing thing. We've got a whole bunch of parts ready to go for this right now, and we will be adding to that in the coming days and weeks with more part orders that are coming in. But I want to get at least one of the lower curves or corner modules all done and ready to go so that can become the new template for everything else. And we don't ideally need to take a top layout corner apart again to act as a blueprint. So we'll be working on doing this and then getting the corner back together here so that we can continue to run trains up here. Once this is done, or once we've basically got one lower level corner module done, this will get connected back up, and then we'll be doing the same sort of process to the T-junction over there, taking it apart and making sure that we get at least one of the lower level T-junctions all ready to go. Ideally both just right away and get it all done with, but want to make sure that those big chunks of the lower layout are all ready to go, because after that the straightaways are fairly straightforward. We do have the monster crossovers down below to eventually get onto mills, and that'll require taking apart the chunk of mills module in the middle of the train yard there. But that'll be down the line. I want to get the corners first, then the T-junctions, some straightaways, and then we will probably near the end do those monster crossovers as one of the last chunks that gets converted onto mills. But just wanted to show you guys that. Lots of work ahead here, but excited with the progress we're making. And like I said, going to be working on keeping this layout in good working order here so we can continue to run trains, but also we'll be working on a number of things that will clear out these pathways around the layout so that it becomes easier and easier over time to navigate the layout, work on running trains, work on adding new modules in, updating modules around the layout, etc. So lots of fun stuff ahead. Thank you guys for joining me for this video though. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.